Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee. 20th of November, Wednesday, 9:26 in the morning. It'll be a high of around 70, low of 58, clear weather. I want to start off by thanking everyone for praying for Chief yesterday. He's very noticeably improved. Let's put it that way. Okay? I'm noticing it like for real. Okay? All right, we'll keep the prayers going. I don't know if he's all the way yet. I don't think so, but let's keep the prayers going. I very, very much thank you, and Chief thanks you if he understood what prayer was, which I doubt he does. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is, the Lord showed me this, I believe. I'm going to show you why a nuclear war does not line up with the Bible prophecies that are coming up on us, or any other Bible prophecy for that matter. There's no single Bible prophecy, okay, that matches it. When you go to Gog and Magog, which, as many of you know, is going to come after the second 70 of Daniel 9:24, the Bible does not say 70 weeks. In every single Hebrew manuscript, it says 70. Same exact words. The first 70 was the Babylon captivity, 70 years. And the next one starts with the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man, Zechariah 12, verse 10, and the everlasting life. Malachi 4, Zechariah 12, 1 John 3:2, Revelation 1:7, and you'll get the idea. Okay? Very clearly. All right. Hang on. I got it. I don't know what this is. Yeah. Mise? Yes, Angli? Sat? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what you're with yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's my wife. I'm the husband. Um uh Hang on a second. I'm gonna go out for a second. Hold on. Guys, you gotta give me a minute or two. This is the social worker we need. Uh, One second. you're from America, right? Oh, you're from no, you're not the St. Kieran. Ah, that's it. It is you. Yeah. Yeah, we'll remember you. Yeah, it is you. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll see you. Look forward to it. Thank you. Bye bye. That's the St. Kieran. So that's done, right? I gotta go back and do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll pray for them. Karen? Sorry, that was our. We're using the social welfare system that we paid for all these years in Israel now. Israel has a very heavy socialization system. So anyway, I apologize for the interruption. We're trying to get a hold of this woman for weeks, and I met this woman years and years ago. Her mother was American. Anyway, let's continue. So I'm going to explain to you why with the Bible prophecies. If you don't believe the Bible, you're probably not going to believe me, but you should believe the Bible. Okay, and you're more than welcome to listen to it, and I'll try to explain it to you. But if you believe the Bible and you believe the Bible prophecies, which I'm going to open up to you, I'm going to show you the timing, the sequencing, you're going to realize there's no nuclear war. I used to tell you, using secular information why there's no nukes. But now I'm going to believe what the Lord showed me is show you the Bible prophecies and show you why there's no nukes. That there's not going to be a nuclear war. This whole thing with Putin, I'm changing my nuclear doctrine and we're going to nuke somebody. And yet we see Biden give 2 million landmines. These are little things you put in the ground, you step on them, they blow your legs off, or a vehicle gets blown up in the air and damaged, stuff like that, right? What good are 2 million landmines, which must cost a fortune? What good are they going to do against the nuke? You see, you got to ask yourself these questions. Okay, so I'm going to go jump into the live stream and check that we got sound and picture, which is generally rather important. But normally we do. If we don't, it's usually a mistake on my part. And check that we got sound and picture. We got sound and picture. I'm going to put a couple of quick posts up in the chat, which is going to take not much time at all. And we're still waiting for people to come in. And it won't take much time. Very quick. And the trolls ought to be showing up any minute. Could you imagine what kind of a horrible life you have to be a troll, where you get pleasure running around, jumping into live streams and insulting people? Could you imagine how far gone you got to be where that gives you pleasure? I mean, it's crazy. These people are really crying out for help, but nobody's helping them. But the Lord would help them. But they're not crying out to the Lord, they're crying out to people. It's a shame. Pray for them to get saved, I guess. It's a good idea anyway. But if you feel like you want to report any of the trolls, be my guest. Okay, being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, so let's start with some updates on mostly the Ukraine-Russia war, all right, which is what they like to call the intel. Now, the preppers love this stuff, and the survivalists are pretty much the same thing, really. You see, what the preppers do is they rely on their own ability to survive. That doesn't work, okay? Cursed be the man that trusteth in a man. Now, if you're trusting in yourself, are you not trusting in a man? Of course you are. So you're basically, in these trying times, you're putting a curse on yourself in reality. Reason I wear sunglasses is I'm in front of screens all the time, and they stretch my old eyes. So I wear these, which are reflective. They bounce back a lot of the light, and they cut a lot, and they're polarized. They block a lot of the blue light up to 400 nanometers, and they relax my eyes, and I find it rather good for my eyes, okay? That's why I wear them. It reduces the stress in my eyes quite a bit, and my wife always says I'm in front of the screens too much, and she's probably right, but I don't know how I could function unless I was I stay in front of the screens. I update my Telegram, I guess at least 5 times a day. So, all right, let's continue. I'll get my notes out and I'll give you the updates. As most of you likely know, the Ukrainians fired 6 ATACM missiles, which have a range of 186, 187 miles. They fired them into Russia, hitting an ammo dump. Russia says they took down 5 out of the 6. And the 6th one was damaged but not taken down. And what it did is it caused a fire. Did Russia take them all down, or were they lying? I don't know. I'm not sure what Russia used to take them down and how effective. I don't know. Iran and Syria say they do things like this all the time, take stuff down, and they never do. So, I take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, Putin's basically beating the nuclear war drum, so I think it's time that we address this so your fear level reduces significantly. All right? Some of the Baltic Sea cables, there were 3 sets of cables that were cut. One set we think was done by China because there was a Chinese naval vessel right near where it was cut, apparently. So China is not going around saying, we cut the cable, but it looks like China did. The other 2 cables that were cut were apparently done by Russia. Russia has, for lack of better terminology, submarine drones that are used to lay the cable. And if they could lay the cable, it's obvious they could be used to destroy the cable. To lay a cable, you repair a cable, you got to cut the break point, make it clean. So if you could cut the break point to clean it up and reattach it, you obviously can cut the cable and not reattach it. Okay? Putin's safest, most secure move at this point is to launch a massive attack on Ukraine that would probably take 1 or 2 months. I mean, he'd have to go whole hard, okay? The United States closed their Kiev, capital of Ukraine, embassy for today, the 20th, because they're fearing an attack from Russia, an air attack on Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. Now, America does a lot of false alarms like this all around the world, but prevention is, worth a lot more than cure. So I think they picked something up, whatever the heck they picked up, I don't know, and they got in the belief that this is going to happen today. So they don't want their people going to work at the embassy today, so they closed the embassy. Putin has set out a lot of red line warnings in the past months, and if he doesn't pull through on this warning, everybody's going to think Putin's like Iran. It's just all talk and no delivery. Okay? So, is Putin aware of that? Well, I'm not sure. I would assume he is. So he's going to have to come through with something. Cutting the cables is not going to cut it. That's a rather cowardly move, unlikely to lead to any kind of a big world war. And he knows that. I gotta keep checking this because I'm getting a delivery of groceries and I want to make sure that I respond to them. There it goes. This will be very quick. They send you a list of what they can't supply in your order, and they give you suggestions for replacement. That was it, one item, not bad. Okay. So Putin has to do something, and he ain't gonna do nukes, believe me. I'll get into that with you later. So he's gonna do probably this massive attack on Ukraine, and the safest way for Putin to get out of this mess he's in now is to just annihilate Ukraine. But he has to be careful. There's NATO troops staged on his border in many countries. He's got to keep a lot of his good military and military resources inside Mother Russia. He has to be careful. He can't overcommit in Ukraine. That would be the type of mistake that military officers learn in the War College. That's, War College 101 or 201. It's not 4 or 501. It's basic stuff. He's got to watch himself. Russian doomsday planes took off, 8 of them. 6 went to the Ural Mountains, I think. They probably have bunkers there. Now, these are not just for the nuke thing. It's a bunker to protect them from bombing, missiles, and so forth. And 2 of these planes were flying around still, so they probably are command and control planes. Russia is now mass producing shipping containers. I knew a guy once that made shipping containers. They're not hard to make. It's very simple. They got the sheet metal, I guess, is probably, I don't know, a quarter of an inch thick. It might be 3/8 or something, but maybe 3/8. I don't think it's a half inch or anything. And the shipping containers are steel, and they're really sturdy. And he's using those for what he's calling bomb shelters with nuclear protection. Now, how the heck is a 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 inch steel box going to protect you from a nuclear blast with 3,000-mile-an-hour winds? Is what they say. I'm not saying this is real. This is their narrative, which would blow the container all over the place, right? And then the land becomes radioactive for what, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, depending what they use, right? Yeah? All right. So the container's going to stop radiation? I don't think so. It's going to stop 3,000-mile-an-hour winds and extreme heat waves, like, 300 degrees or some whatever they say it is. No. What the container will do is they'll place them in strategic locations in the streets. They probably have what, like America had, like air raid wardens in World War II. The UK had them and stuff like that. Make sure people shut all the lights off in their house at night. I mean, you could have lights on, but you gotta have, lots of curtains, so people would have 2 layers of curtains so no light would get out and they could keep the light on. The air raid warden had a little helmet and an armband and maybe a vest, and walked around. Might have had a gun, I don't know. And they walked around the streets, and if they saw light coming out of the window, they'd go knock on the door and yell at them. They could probably get them in trouble, give them a fine or something like that, So they didn't want the pilots to be able to look down and see the lights of the city. Their thought was the pilots may not know exactly where they were. They couldn't get landmarks and so forth. And then for the cars, they put covers on the headlights, and they had a little slit like this coming out of the headlight. So it would light up the road somewhat so you could see, but it probably didn't throw a broad beam of light out there that an airplane could readily detect. I don't think it, I don't know. I never tried one, but that's what they used to do. All right. So they probably have people like this, and when the sirens blow, they'll go report to the bomb shelters. Probably they'll stage, 5 or 10 or 15 containers in a location in a town or a city, and put some here, there, and all over the place, right? And then people will run and go into the shelter and wait for the attack to be over. Which is like in Israel, you might be in there 20 minutes. Now, it's going to be congested in there. They're probably not going to have comfortable places to sit. They're not going to have water facilities or, toilets or anything like that. So to make it work effectively, you have to close the door. What will it do for the Russian people? Well, a direct hit from a warhead right on the container is probably not going to help the people survive very well. Okay, it's going to probably blow the container up, and people inside are going to get impact injuries, percussive force thrown against the metal walls, and, it'll be rather bad. The chances of a direct hit on the shipping container are not exactly high. They're rather remote, but it can happen. Okay, with an artillery shell, it would probably be, again, unlikely for the people to survive altogether. But, how many people would you put inside a thing like this? 50 probably, I don't know, 30, whatever. The artillery shell would probably pierce the metal and cause a lot of damage to some of the people. Now, what will it really do for them if there's no direct hit right on the shipping containers? Now, mind you, the chances of a hit on the side of the container are less than the roof of the container because things are coming down from above, right? So, yeah, you could take a drone and have it go down. The containers are 8 feet high, have it go 4 feet over the surface and fly into it, but they don't ever bring them down that low. So, I mean, a missile could come and make a trajectory approach and hit it on the side. It could happen. So what they could do to reinforce these containers is they could put sandbags around them and or concrete bricks or blocks, which would help because the missile or the suicide drone would explode when it hit the sandbags or the concrete bricks or blocks around it. And they could also put stuff up on the roof, I don't know if Putin intends to do that or not. No idea. Probably not. Now, when missiles and artillery come down, a lot of the damage to the soldiers that it's targeting is from shrapnel. Okay? So if the soldier is within even 25 yards, the shrapnel could hit the soldier. That's pieces of metal which can be this big, this big, this big, go flying all over the place, and it could hit them and cause injuries. It could be fatal. Often it's not, but it could be. The shipping container is going to work against that probably 95, 98% of the time, or almost all the time. Practically all the time. The concussive force of a big artillery shell, like a 200-300 pound, I'm not artillery shell, missile warhead, 200-300 pounds, which is rather large, is going to, reach out probably 60 yards and hurt people. It could blow them into a tree or a wall or knock them down, that's not going to be an issue for people in the steel shipping container. The percussive force isn't going to do anything. The container is so heavy, I don't think it would move it. Now, if you start getting into things like 500-pound bombs, now that might be able to blow the container, move it around or something. Again, they could take the container and embed it into a concrete slab, and then it wouldn't do anything to it. But I doubt they'll go to that trouble. So if a 500-pound bomb landed close, like 50 feet or something like that, the percussive force of the blast may roll the container or something like that. Not highly likely, because those things are rather heavy, but it could be a case. Now, if you're getting into 2,000-pound bombs, well, that's another matter. But why would somebody use 2,000-pound bombs on open spaces? So yes, Putin is definitely providing protection for his people like this. No doubt about it. And no doubt it's not for nuclear protection. It's not going to stop 3,000-mile-an-hour winds and things like this. Okay, that the nuke is supposed to deliver. I said supposed to. Okay. NATO conducted its largest ever artillery drill in Finland, bordering Russia. This is an issue. Now, the cutting of the internet cables is basically disabling a lot of communications for, I think, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, because they can use the internet with encryption to communicate, and now they can't because the cables are cut. So they're resorting to radio communications. However, radio communications can more easily be intercepted and decrypted, maybe, but they can be jammed. So they can cut off, Russia can cut off Sweden, Lithuania, Finland, and possibly other countries to come from having good communications in time of war if Russia is attacking them. Now, Biden went to the Offutt Air Force Base, I think yesterday, and Kamala on Air Force Two went to Hawaii. So this could all be coincidental, but then again, maybe it isn't. Maybe they got intel that Putin was going to try to sling some missiles at Washington from submarines or something. I don't know. Maybe it was just precautionary. It could have been coincidental. I don't know. Turkey has, a NATO member, has received the Hamas leaders that were told to leave Qatar. Now, this is I believe, a definite recognized terrorist organization that Erdogan in Turkey opened his doors to. Now, Norway and Germany just sent what's called ramjet artillery to Ukraine. This is really interesting stuff. North Korea has something like this. It's sort of like a rocket-propelled artillery shell. The ones that Germany and Norway sent are 155 millimeter, and they can triple the range of what the artillery can reach out to, and it can be up to 90-mile range, which means that Ukraine will be able to lob artillery shells into Russia, not as deep as with an ATACMS or a Scout missile, but pretty deep enough to hit Russia. See, if Ukraine could keep hitting the supply lines, bringing weapons, food, medical, and all the other stuff an army needs into the Ukraine area that's occupied by Russia, then he creates a massive problem for the soldiers inside Ukraine, as in they run out of ammo, medical, food, and stuff like that. So this artillery should help them do it. Now, a lot of the range of these ramjet artillery shells is going to be dependent on the shell that you're using. So, the rule of thumb is it can go out about 90 miles, but with some shells, with a heavier warhead, maybe 75 miles. With others, maybe it can even hit 100-mile range. I don't know, with a light shell. I don't know how they're going to try to drag Israel into this war. I don't think they're going to be able to. I don't think God's going to let that happen. So how do you blame Israel for the Ukraine-Russia war? You really can't. Netanyahu we captured 60-70% of the weapons in Lebanon that we're capturing are Russian manufactured. So Netanyahu is taking them and bundling them up. Maybe he's cleaning them and checking them to see if they work, maybe not, and shipping them to Ukraine to use against Russia. Netanyahu is a big believer in payback, not unlike Trump. So, I mean, Russia could say, okay, I'm going to give long-range weapons to Ukraine, and give them 20 or 40 or 50 missiles, but Iran, give them to Iran, but Iran still needs the radar to guide them, and that's lacking. So the Pentagon just announced another $275 million in aid to Ukraine. So Biden is dead bent on keeping Ukraine fighting, even after Trump gets sworn in, I believe. Netanyahu did something that I thought was certainly anything but a bad idea, but it's rather outrageous, but he did it, and I'll explain. He's offering anybody in Gaza $5 million reward, and I believe it would be if they can produce a hostage safely to Israel, or possibly provide enough precise information and details so we could send a team in and rescue the hostage. Of course, if they get caught, they face death from Hamas, but Hamas is so disjointed and busted up, people may try it. I hope they do. It would be nice to recover any amount of the hostages. Iran and her proxies are constantly stating they're going to go destroy Israel as if it's a great thing and they're doing God a service. There is a scripture that says they'll kill you and think they're doing God a service. That's them. But what it also does is it stirs up great anti-Semitism against Israel in the Muslim countries. And they also want to wipe out America, and it starts up anti-American sentiments in these Muslim countries as well. And they get the people in these Muslim countries to develop a false sense of grandeur. About how powerful Iran is, because it boasts, but it can't deliver. You know, when God in prophecy says he's going to destroy a country, usually the landscape goes, the army goes, and stuff like that. Of course, the economy goes, the food goes. And, you know, that's the case with Hamas in Gaza. Gaza is a busted up parking lot now. The streets are destroyed, the traffic lights, areas to park. Government buildings are destroyed, hospitals are destroyed, schools are destroyed, mosques are destroyed, apartments are destroyed, houses are destroyed. Everything's destroyed. It's the year of recompenses. In South Lebanon, it looks like Gaza now. Lebanon's not over yet. All right, let me check the live stream. I'm waiting for the trolls so I can dump them. Okay. So now we'll start to dissect some prophecy scriptures. We'll start with America. Jeremiah 50:51, destruction of daughter of Babylon, America. And if you don't know that it's America, you got to go on a journey to understand that. I have a lot of scripture Bible studies in my YouTube channel. They're in the live section, and you can go there and learn about that. But millions of people understand that America is the daughter of Babylon, and they know it's going to come down. They just don't want to know when, nor do they want to believe it. So let us begin. I guess I'll look the verse up. I know the words, but I don't know the verse all to go. Jeremiah 51:50, and I will read it to you out of King James. Jeremiah 51:50. You that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still, remember the Lord afar, and let Jerusalem come into mind. Now, this is telling you that the lost tribes in Israel, the known Jews in Israel, and the true believers in Yeshua HaMashiach are going to leave. They're going to come to Israel. This is the harvest of the daughter of Babylon. Now, it says those that escaped the sword. All right. Let's get the right word for this from Strong's. It could be the correct word. Yeah, escape like a fugitive. Okay. So it could mean those of you that get out before the sword. Remember the Lord afar off. All right, but let's develop this. Read in Jeremiah 51:54. A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. Okay, that's great destruction, but the people are still crying. Because Jehovah hath spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babel, and her mighty men are taken. All right, now, mighty men taken. Now let's check the word for taken, 39:20, captured, seized. That doesn't lend itself to a nuclear attack, does it? You're taking POWs, you might say. That doesn't lend itself to a nuclear attack. No one should be left. Every one of their bows is broken, for Jehovah, the God of recompenses, shall surely requite or pay back. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers and mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, saith the King, whose name is Jehovah of hosts. So Does that sound like they're destroyed in their sleep or something else? I think something else. I will make drunk and they go to sleep. It doesn't sound like a nuclear attack to me. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. Well, it says the Lord will kindle fires in and about the cities of America. That's what that's talking about. Then we go on into verse 59 of Jeremiah 51. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Sariah, the son of Neriah, the son of Messiah, when he went with Zedekiah, the king of Judah, into Babylon in the 4th year of the reign of his Sariah and a quiet prince. So Jeremiah wrote, let me speed this up. It goes on in verse 63, and it shall come to pass, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates, and thou shalt say, thus shall Babel sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. So that doesn't sound like a nuclear attack if it's like they're sunk under the water. Remember, the waves wash over daughter of Babylon, probably after the cities are burning and probably after the believers and the Israelites have gone on the next great Exodus. And then it goes on in verse 51:1, I will raise up against Babel and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. Well, that could be a wind from a nuclear blast, but it really is a poor fit. The word for wind is ruach. Okay. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan and shall empty her land in the days of trouble. They shall be against her round about. Fanners would work on the threshing floor, saving the wheat and burning up the junk. Well, they're going to loot, plunder, and pillage America. Now, why would they loot, plunder, and pillage America, wealth and riches, if they were glowing in the dark and causing radiation? Well, then some will say they do that before the radiation comes. Well, that means that the army would be destroyed unless they got out of there really quick. So you have to start reading a lot of things into prophecy to begin to make this to work. And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land on the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about. Empty her land means take the booty, the loot out of there. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare you not her young men, destroy you utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in the streets. Well, does a nuclear attack thrust you through? A bullet does. A sword does. An arrow does. A bullet, of course, does. shrapnel, sort of, but not nuclear explosion. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land is filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babel, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her lawlessness, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So they're fleeing out of there. So that means they have to get out before the big attack would come, before the nukes would land, or they would be glowing in the dark. I'm not seeing a good fit here at all. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Well, that's for sure. Mad as in nuts. The word here is halal. I think we got a translation problem. Oh, gosh, this thing. Boasting, foolish, things like that. Yeah. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Remember, it happened suddenly. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. So they're going to be sitting around trying to heal a nuclear attack glowing in the dark radioactive America. No, I don't think so. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up over even to the skies. The Lord had brought forth our righteousness. That means Zechariah 12 just happened. 12:10. Revelation 1:7. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Jehovah our God. So they're still there. The true believers and the Israelites have still not yet left Zion. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Jehovah hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babel to destroy it, because it's the vengeance of Jehovah, the vengeance of his temple. You see, the people, the soldiers are there. They're looting and pillaging the place. So how do you get the nuclear attack going with the soldiers there? They're not going to destroy their own soldiers. I mean, that'd be going pretty far, even for China and North Korea, but, you know, I don't think they would do that. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babel. That's the only walls they got are the Mexico walls, about 2,000 miles. And you got militias there, state police there, federal border patrol to some extent there. Make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for Jehovah hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Ambushes, nuclear war, not consistent. O thou that dwellest upon many waters. Well, is that America? Sure. Great Lakes, 8,000 rivers, probably about that many lesser lakes. Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, Pacific. The other candidates for the daughter of Babylon are really, it can't be Israel because they get out of the daughter of Babylon and then go to Israel. So how could it be Israel? Let's get real. You got the Vatican. 200 to 300 people live in the Vatican. There's no real believers there. There's no Israelites there. There's only, maybe in Full House, there's 300 people there. There's no Jews there. They're not on any water. What is this? Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia, they're both in the desert. There's no Jews there. There's no true believers there. They're not surrounded by water. It's America. Abundant in treasures, that's America. Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness, They're very covetous. Jehovah of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. It's men doing the killing. They fill you up with caterpillars. Trump thinks there's up to 30 million illegals. 60 to 70% are military-age males. A retired Border Patrol agent that worked 26 years, I believe a lot of that time in Texas, as the number 2 guy in charge of an office there, says there could be 30 to 50 million already in the U.S. Those are your caterpillars. And that is Jeremiah 51, verse 14. There's your caterpillars. He hath made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his understanding. Now, this is what the church never teaches. They never teach Jeremiah 50:51. They don't want the people to understand America's the daughter of Babylon. The portion of Jacob, that's Israel, not like them, for he is the former of all things. And he says Israel, the 10 tribes, is his firstborn. And Israel is the rod, because they followed Jehovah. And Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Jehovah of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe, speaking of Israel. Israel will be going to war when the year of redemption starts, just like they did with Joshua. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the heathen nations, or the goyim, the heathen, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his redeemer. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. This is already happening in Gaza and Lebanon and Syria, lesser extent Yemen and Iraq. Okay, it's already started. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers, and I will render unto Babel and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Jehovah. So apparently they're going to be doing bad stuff. America will be doing bad stuff to us. Behold, I'm going to go more on Revelation 17:18 with America, Biden, Trump, towards the end. Behold, that's some extra stuff to tell you. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, which destroyeth all the earth. and I will stretch out my hand, and then they're going to say that's a nuclear attack. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all. Stretch out my hand upon thee, and will roll you down from the rock and make thee a burnt mountain. Now, you're going to say, oh, the burnt mountain is a nuke. Well, doesn't say that. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner. All right, let me keep going. Set you up a standard in the land of in the land. That's America. Blow the trumpet among the heathen nations, or the heathens. Prepare the heathens against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Arat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. These are the stand countries that are allied with Russia. Appoint, it doesn't say Russia, appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Yeah, there's no nukes here. This is man fighting. Prepare against her the nations, the heathens, with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. Why would they put all these troops there if they were just going to lob missiles and warheads and bombs in there that are nukes? And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Jehovah is performed against Babel, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. One post shall run to another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken in one end. So we got messengers running around the streets after a nuclear attack, glowing in the dark? I don't think so. And the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. Doesn't sound nuclear to me. For thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. They want to get the chaff and the wheat out, or the tares and the wheat of Matthew 13, for the harvest. The tares or the chaff, the junk is burned up at the threshing floor, is tied into bundles and burned, and the wheat is gathered into the barn, which is Israel. It is time to thresh her yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. Now, does the place get nuked after the invading soldiers leave, and after the Israelites and the true believers leave? I don't know. I'm not finding it. Verse 35, Jeremiah 51. The violence done to me and to my flesh is upon Babylon. Shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, so shall Jerusalem say. So this lends me to think this is either in the past, from the original Babylon, or this America, the new Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, is going to do some bad stuff to Israelis. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. That doesn't sound nuclear to me. How about you? And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment, a hissing without an inhabitant. They shall roar together as lions, they shall yell as lion whelps. In their heat I will make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith Jehovah. This doesn't sound like a nuclear attack. They're having a feast in their heat. That's their lust, debauchery. And I will make them drunken. That's not having their eyes melt in their sockets or the flesh off their bones in Gog and Magog, which is probably what the glory of God of Israel does, not a nuclear bomb. That they may rejoice, and that's decades down the road, that they may rejoice, it's not nuclear either, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake. So they're rejoicing. This doesn't sound like a nuke attack. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with the he-goats. That doesn't lend itself to a nuke. How is Sheshach taken, and how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? All right. The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. These are going to have to be some horrific waves to cover the whole country. It doesn't say the great city, Washington, D.C. It says the whole place. I think you're probably looking at waves of at least 1,000 feet. I don't know. It doesn't sound like nuclear at all. And what would the waves wash away the radiation? I don't think so. And if they did, it would just bring it into the ocean. It doesn't make sense. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. That could mean it's under radiation. I mean, there's a way, if I wanted to twist and turn this to be radiation, I probably could do it. But I don't think this thing is real, the radiation. They would just bomb Israel and make it glow in the dark. They would have done that long ago, and there wouldn't have been any Israel. A land wherein no man dwelleth, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he hath swallowed up, and the nations shall not flow together anymore unto him. Well, how do they flow together unto Babylon? They meet in the UN in New York City, I think is 49th Street by the East River or something like that. I've been there a few times. Yea, the wall of Babylon shall fall. I've been there. I know I've been there. I don't know how many times. Maybe just once. They took us on a field trip in school when I was in the Bronx to the UN. My people, go you out of the midst of her and deliver you every man his soul from the fierce anger of Jehovah, and lest your heart faint, and your fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. The rumor both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. That hasn't happened yet. If Biden's trying to throw everybody into World War III, which it really looks like he's trying to do, he could stop Trump from being sworn in. Just declare emergency law, World War Powers Act, martial law. I can't, I can't put the country through a transition stage. Right now we'll collapse internally. I don't know. It's a good theory, but we got to wait and see what really causes it. The violence in the land could be the sleeper agents. After that, it says ruler against ruler. Well, there's a lot of rulers disputing other rulers in America. Is Trump a ruler? He's president-elect, not really. What does he rule? Nothing. But he's almost a ruler. I don't know. The word for ruler is mashal. To rule, have dominion, reign. Let's see what Strong's uses for English on this. Have, make, dominion, governor, reign, rule, have power. Maybe you could stretch Trump as a ruler. I don't know. He would be on January 20th. Therefore, behold, the days come that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babel, and her whole land will be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. All right. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith Israel. That's probably north of Israel. As Babylon hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall the slain of all the earth shall fall the slain of all the land, not earth. It's higher. It's probably referencing the land of America or the land of Babylon. You that have escaped the sword. Is the nuke really a sword? Do you see my point? Go away, stand not still. Remember Jehovah afar off. Let Jerusalem come into your mind. Ye are confounded because we have heard reproach, shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuary of the Lord's house. This is either in the old days when Babylon came, most likely, slight chance it's in the next temple, very slight. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Oh, could it be nukes? Yeah. Judgment on the graven images. Yeah, that could be a nuke. I'm trying to be honest and open. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll give you both sides as we proceed. Though Babylon should mount up the heaven and she should fortify. But remember, thrust through in the streets, men like caterpillars ain't nukes. It's against it. And though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. Spoilers are soldiers. A sound of a cry from Babylon, and great destruction from Jehovah from the land of the Chaldeans. That's America. Because the Chaldeans were the witchcraft people, like fortune tellers, astrologers, sorcerers, this sort of thing in old Babylon. It's the same unclean spirits that are running America. That's why it's done this. What's called that. Because the same unclean spirits that ran the old Babylon that used to be around Iraq. Because Jehovah hath spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voices uttered. So we know there's going to be soldiers killing people. People are going to, go into their heat, their lust, and feast and die. And fires will be kindled in and around her cities, and water will wash over great waves. That's what we know. None of these really lend itself very much at all to a nuke, do they? No. Because the spoiler has come upon her, even upon Babylon, and their mighty men are taken. See, a nuke doesn't take like that. I mean, you could say taken, yeah, they're knocked off. Okay. Every one of their bows is broken, for Jehovah Elohim of recompenses shall, oh no, it doesn't say Elohim, it says El. Jehovah El of recompenses shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not awake, saith the King, whose name is Jehovah of armies. Well, how does that work? Sleep a perpetual sleep? That takes me to chemical warheads or biological warheads. Doesn't it take you there, kind of? Now that's real, and that could be used. Biological, not so much. It's not that efficient. The chemical weapons are rather instant. Biological weapons like anthrax, it could take you 3, 4, 5 days to get, for it to incubate and break out, and it doesn't lend itself. Where chlorine gas takes, seconds, minutes maybe to disable you. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, the broad walls of Babel shall be utterly broken, and the high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary. Labor in vain, the folk in the fire being weary, that doesn't sound nuclear to me. Nuclear is fairly instant. The word which Jeremiah, okay, now let's go to the previous chapter. I want to, if we start seeing evidence for a nuke, I'm going to bring it out, but I'm not seeing it. Let's check the chat. Some want to clean the trolls out if they're here. Let's see. You people continue to oppress all those whom disagree, including my people, who you're murdering to this day. Let's start with Hamas. I'm going to show you the insanity of people like this. Hamas invaded Israel. 3,000 Hamas soldiers came into Israel on October 7th, along with 3,000 to 5,000 citizens of Gaza. They raped the women. They took a cut a fetus out of a woman when she was alive. They put a baby in an oven. They burned a lot of people alive, tying them together with baling wire. They burned houses down with people trapped in them. They killed many hundreds of people, and they took children, infants, women, old people, senile people back as hostages, and they're still keeping them there. And they said if they have a chance, they'll keep doing more October 7th attacks. So we're killing them now. Gee, who sounds like they got the better argument? I do, or this character? Lebanon. The day after October 7th, Lebanon kept lobbing missiles in on us all the time, right? Hitting whatever they wanted to hit. They're even killing Arabs in Israel. So what did we do? We waited and waited over a year, and then we finally attacked them, and now we're wiping them out. They wouldn't stop. They still won't stop. Their complaint is that we attacked Hamas in Gaza. Why did we attack Hamas in Gaza? Did we wake up on October 7th, send our military into Gaza and start raping the women, burning them alive, cutting their heads off, okay, taking them hostage, and telling the Israeli population to come in and take hostages and give them $10,000 per hostage like Hamas did? You see the lack of logic that these people have? And they say, we're doing genocide. We're the murderers. Hamas, to this day, will tell you they want to come in and massacre Israel again. And Lebanon demonstrated it. So did Yemen, but they can't do anything. They're not effective enough. And then look at Iran. Did we attack Iran first, or did Iran attack us? Did we attack Iraq first, or did they attack us? You see what I'm saying? Why are they attacking the American bases in the Middle East, Iraq and Syria militias that report to Iran? You know, and we're killing the Muslims or the Arabs, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we're going around killing them. Why didn't we kill Jordan? Why didn't we? They didn't attack us. Why didn't we kill Egypt? They didn't attack us. Why didn't we kill Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman? They didn't attack us. So get your facts straight. You just make yourself look ridiculous when you talk like this. Okay. Jeremiah 50, verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babylon and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he goats before the flock. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. This really doesn't lend itself at all to a nuclear attack. They're going to be all over America. It's people. What do you need an assembly of great nations for? All you need is one or two Russian, Chinese submarines to launch nuclear missiles or airplanes. You know, what do you need all the... You see what I'm saying? Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied. Now, the word for spoil is 79, 98, or 97. It can mean a booty, a spoil, plunder of war. They're going to loot, plunder, and pillage the place. So they would have to do the nukes after they looted, plundered, and pillaged America. But in order for them to be able to plunder, loot, and pillage America, they got to kill all the soldiers. The nuke thing doesn't have a good fit. It says in verse 12, Jeremiah 50:12, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost, the latest of the nations, shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Well, why would nuclear bombs make it a dry land? I don't know. I don't come up with anything on that one. When it says your mother, it's referencing the unclean spirit they call Columbia. That's, Washington District of Columbia, that Columbia Motion Pictures icon, the woman with the flat-chested woman on the icon with the torch, like the Statue of Liberty, like the woman on the roof of the Capitol building, that woman, right? Because of the wrath of Jehovah, it shall not be inhabited. It shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Everyone that goeth by. All right. Now, let's check the words on this. Everyone, let's check that. It's called, it means all, not everyone. All goeth, that should be a bar. Pass over or through. It says like through, over. So who the heck's going to be walking through Babylon if it was glowing in the dark? Put yourselves in array against Babel round about, all you that bend the bow, and shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. So they're surrounding her. Shout again. Why would you surround her if you're going to start plopping nukes on them? You'll be affected. You'd want to be out at sea or flying in a plane and drop nuclear bombs or missiles or shoot missiles from ships at sea. You wouldn't want to be standing around there. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen. Given her hand means she surrendered. How is she going to surrender to a nuke? It's a joke. It doesn't have a fit. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of the harvest, for fear of the oppressing sword. They shall turn every one to his people. They shall flee every one to his own land. No room for a nuke in this, really. The president surrenders. That doesn't sound like a nuke attack. Who the heck is he surrendering to in a nuke attack? If the place has been nuked, there wouldn't be any soldiers around there. What about the sleeper agents, 30 to 50 million? They're going to kill all of them? They need them to be the spoilers, the looters. That's their army. America's already been invaded. I will bring Israel again to his habitation, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan. Okay. Verse 21, go up against the land of Merathaim. That's from the old Babylon, it's America. Even against it and against the inhabitants of Pekod, sing like Merathaim. Waste and utterly destroy. This is telling the soldiers, go up against the land. That, it's not bombs. And utterly destroy after them. It's not nuclear bombs, saith the Lord. Do according to all that I have commanded. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? And that's got to be America. And broken. How is Babylon become a desolation among the heathen nations. Now, this is very interesting. Verse 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babel, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. They've been taken, they've been captured. That doesn't lend itself to nukes. Nukes is there's nothing left. Let's read verse 26. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Well, that's looting, plundering, and pillaging, but it's soldiers coming in. And the only way they're going to accomplish this is to kill the people in America. Slay all her bullocks, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe be unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The bullock is a bull. It means, the federal agents, the military, that kind of thing, police. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babel, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Jehovah Elohim, the vengeance of his temple. So we see the believers and the Israelites see the destruction in America, come to Israel and report it. So they were there for the destruction. How are they going to be there for the nuclear bomb attack with 100 nukes hitting America or something? Come on. Call together the archers against Babel, all that bend the bow, camp against her round about. That's people. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according that she hath done. Do unto her, for she hath been proud against Jehovah, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets. Let's look up the word fall. Nafal. That means cast down. Now, with a nuke, you wouldn't really be cast down. There'd be nothing left of you, but all right. Behold, I am against thee, O most proud, saith Jehovah, saith Adonai Jehovah of hosts, for the day is come, the time that I will visit, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Burn him up. You're going to say, well, it could be a nuke, but it doesn't really sound like it. With a nuke, there's no real burning them up. It's over in a few seconds. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go. This is what the Slavs in Gaza did. They like to say we're genocidal. Slavs. You got to be a nitwit to believe them. They're such liars. They're terrorists. Hamas is terrorists. Hezbollah is terrorists. Houthi is terrorists. That's all they are. Their Redeemer is strong. Jehovah of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Disquiet doesn't exactly sound like nuke. A sword is upon the Chaldeans. It's a sword, Jehovah, a sword has an operator, a guy that holds a sword. Saith the Lord, the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wives. A sword is upon the bars, the liars, and they shall dote. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. See, it's a selective killing because the believers and the Israelites get out. Nukes are not selective. A sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots and upon the mingled people that are in the midst of her. Mingled people, America, the melting pot. And they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. So the nuke would have to come after they robbed the treasures, or the treasures would be radioactive. Right? That's obvious. So how are they going to get permission to just rob the treasures in America? They're not. They'd have to kill them first. It's not done by a nuke. A drought is upon her waters, they shall be dried up, for it's a land of graven images, and they are mad upon their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there. So they're not dead. And the owls shall dwell there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. So why didn't the nukes kill the animals? As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Jehovah, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, the people shall come from the north, and great heathen nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea. They shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. See, it's invading soldiers. It's your sleeper agents plus others. The king of Babel hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, pangs as a woman in travail. The report of the soldiers attacking the country, not a bomb. If it was the king of Babylon heard a nuclear bomb go off, he's not going to have his hands wax feeble and anguish took hold of him. He's going to be blown off. He's not going to be around. It says, and pangs as a woman in travail. No, he'd be gone. It would be DC. That'd be one of the first targets, if not the first. He shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong, but I will make them suddenly run away from her. And whose chosen man I appoint unto her, for who, I think he's talking about America and Israel, which we're going to have trouble with America here. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. Well, someone could say that the nukes moved the earth, but there's so much evidence against it being a nuke, you know? So, I put this out there because they're trying to scare the people, and they're telling the people, oh, we're going to have a nuclear attack in America. Nuclear bombers are active. Nuclear this, nuclear that. They're not real. I know they're liars. Look how they told you we went to the moon. They showed pictures of astronaut on the moon, and the flag was waving in the vacuum. It's crazy. People believe anything. They believe anything. Let me get back in my notes. why I'm telling you that in Revelation 17 and 18 that the Biden administration's with the beast and Trump is with the Whore of Babylon, the old system. The predominant feature is the old system, the Whore of Babylon, Washington, D.C. in America, was running the world. Biden was never that, nor Obama, very dead bent on running the world. Obama seemed to be more dead bent on destroying America and lulling certain categories of people to sleep and trying to change America. He never got as far as he wanted to. Trump came in and monkey wrenched it, and then Biden came in and monkey wrenched what Trump did. Trump is pro-church, false churches, pro-other religions, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, atheism. Trump doesn't care what you are, or if you are a believer in anything. I'm sure he doesn't like true believers. But there's not so many. Broad and wide is the road to destruction, and many find it. Straight and narrow is the correct path, and few find it. So, Trump wants America to be great again. He wants the daughter of Babylon to dominate the world, be the hammer of the whole earth, the great voice. Biden, no. Biden reduced the hammer and reduced the great voice. Now, Biden is with the beast, and the beast is very perturbed about two things. One is the churchianity churches. They had tight control over them, but not so much anymore, because many, many people have come out in the last 35 or so years. Many, many people have come out from the churches because they realize they don't teach the Bible. They teach a rendition or a narrative of the Bible that's incorrect. So they came out of the churches, and that scares Satan, because they're not getting witchcraft and sorcery from the church. They're out there on their own. They're a threat, and they're reading the Bible, and they're praying, and God's going to give them the true doctrine, as many of you found out to your pleasure, as I found out. So we all, I think, all at one point in time went to the church, maybe briefly, but we all at one time went, I think. So that's a problem. For Satan, he doesn't want the true gospel getting out. So the beast situation seems to evolve more into wanting Islam, because Islam dedicates itself to killing Israel, and Israel is the threat to Satan that gets him closer and closer to 1,000 years in the pit, is Israel. So he doesn't want to see Israel be the head and not the tail, and all that, the yoke get taken off of Israel's neck. He wants it on. So the whore system tried the false churches, and Satan and the beast were not happy with that. The whore system tried to fake Israel in 1948 under Satan bots, which it always has been since 1948. And that's going nuts. They're taking land and not giving it back. We won't give the West Bank back. They want us to give it back. And they don't, and we're against Islam. And Islam is Satan's chosen people. He's the one these are the people that he's using against Israel and America. Islam is dedicated. Every time you turn around, they're talking about Iran, and other countries are talking about destroying America. Not the Sunni Muslims, the Shiites. It's crazy. Iran, always in the same, not always, but many times in the same breath, oh, we're going to destroy Israel and America. So that's where I think the system is. Satan is with the beast because Satan gives the beast his power, his throne, and his authority. And you could read that in Revelation 2, starting in verse 12 in Pergamos. And it tells you that Pergamos is where Satan's seat is and where he lives. In Revelation 2, verse 12, 13, 14, it's right there. Pergamos is in North Cyprus, which is owned, operated, and controlled by Turkey, who just decided to house the Hamas leaders that Qatar threw out of Qatar, and they came to Turkey to live in Erdogan's country, who's a NATO member. Go figure that out, because Hamas, I believe, is on the terrorist watch list. So that kind of adds to the picture, okay? So the beast is really upset with the whore because the churches are falling apart. They are. There's so many people that are believing and unchurched today compared to 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. The stuff was practically unheard of. Okay? And that's why the beast wants to burn the whore and eat her flesh, which also doesn't lend itself to a nuclear. Eat her flesh doesn't quite lend itself to nukes. And the ships standing out in the ocean, the waters, watching her burn. Well, if big nukes were going off, the waves would probably capsize the ships. There would be blasts. There'd be, it doesn't make sense. Conventional bombs and other weapons would work. Now, Islam probably doesn't know that Satan's using them, but he is. The fake Israel was an Israel that doesn't follow the Bible, follows the Talmud, never builds a temple in 75 or so years. Stuff like that. So there's just so many scriptures that just don't lend itself to there being nuclear attacks on America. It's just a multitude of scriptures which I pointed out to you. it doesn't lend itself for an attack on Israel either. What are you going to have in Israel glowing in the dark for 50 years for radiation? They would have done it already. Now, when I talk about year of recompenses and year of redemption and the day of vengeance is in both of those years, and we go to Isaiah 61, we read Yeshua referring to this as the acceptable year, which I want to just reiterate. It might be a Jubilee year as well as year of redemption, because the word in Hebrew for Jubilee is Yovel, which means to return home. So the people return home. Where's home? The barn. Where's the barn? Israel. They forgot their resting place. Israel, Israel, Israel. So those of you that escaped the sword, let Zion come to mind. And then they tell people in Zion, which is Israel, what happened in America, you know? So, you know, this lends itself to a year of redemption when every man shall get his house back, his home back, because when we're here in Ezekiel 47, we divide the land up and every man gets his inheritance according to the tribes, and the non-Israelite born people that are believers that come here also get grafted into the tribe they sojourn with. It's in Ezekiel 47, the last 3 verses, and they get treated as native-born Israelites because they're in Yeshua. And Yeshua refers to them as his brethren. So of course they become part of Israel. How else are they going to enter into New Jerusalem, which has 12 gates, each gate made out of a giant pearl, guarded by an angel, and the gates are named after the 12 tribes of Israel. So you would go in according to your appropriate gate. Okay, if you were from Asher, you wouldn't go in the Naphtali gate. You'd go in the Asher gate. So there is no Baptist or Evangelical or Pentecostal or Catholic gate. So obviously they're all incorporated into Israel. And a similar thing happens around the next temple. The gates, the walls around the next temple, not New Jerusalem, next temple, also have 12 gates, each one named after one of the tribes of Israel. I think that's in Ezekiel 48, I think. But it's in there. Revelation 21 has the 12 gates of New Jerusalem. So it's all Israel shall be saved. So if you're in Yeshua, who's from the tribe of Judah, making him a Jew, you would say, you know, and the house of David, and you're his brethren, which he refers to, you've done it to one of these, the least of my brethren, you've done it unto me. So obviously you're in Israel, and all Israel shall be saved. The God of Israel. I never read the God of the churches. So it might be a Jubilee year. Now we have, the people at large in the world have lost track of when the Jubilee and the sabbatical years, the 7-year thing, cycle of 7 years, and the 50-year Jubilee. We've lost. The Shemitah year is the 7-year. We've lost track of that. It's not being observed. We don't know. So it's possible that this next coming biblical year, which would be around I would guess the 2nd or 3rd week in February, when the new moon is spotted, that could begin the year of redemption, which would be a Jubilee year. Maybe. I could be wrong. Maybe not. Maybe Yeshua just said it in Isaiah 61. He called it the acceptable year because the year of redemption is an acceptable year. It means a pleasant year, a really good year. So it could be that. Right now, Israel's having a very bad year. Missiles, rockets, terrorists, political pressure, bad economy, this, that, you know. Okay? So, but it doesn't mandate it to be a Jubilee year. But there's a good point to be made by this. Why did Yeshua call it the acceptable year instead of the year of redemption? Because maybe he was telling us that's what it is, so we would know. Now that brings us to where we know where the day or the hour is, but it doesn't bring us to where we know where the appearing of the Son and the Son of Man is. There's, I mean, is it possible for the year of recompenses to run into the Jubilee year? I suppose so. Year of recompenses doesn't have to follow a calendar year. It's actually Shanat, which could mean over the 12-month period, but it's roughly a 1-year period. I guess you could think of it that way. And the same thing for year of redemption. So, I mean, guys, we might maybe be able to figure out when year of redemption starts, and does it start with Yeshua appearing in the clouds on that day? I guess so. So if all this is right, then we shouldn't be able to know when the first day of Jubilee year is, which could be the first day of redemption, but it may not be. So it's a vague theory that's not crystal clear and concrete. You need to understand that. It has a pretty decent likelihood, okay? But it's not crystal clear to me that it has to be that way. But again, why did Yeshua refer to it as the acceptable year instead of year of redemption or a year of Jubilee? I don't know. I don't get it. The only reason I can think of is he was giving us a hint that not everybody would understand, but some would understand that it is the beginning of the redemption year. That does not mandate that Yeshua is going to appear on the first day, and the carryover from recompenses and redemption doesn't have to be the day of vengeance on the last day of recompenses and the first day of redemption. Maybe there's a week overlap or something like that, so we wouldn't know the exact day and hour Yeshua appears. This is a mystery, and I just want to caution you, it sounds very good, and it could definitely be real, but don't count on it 100% because there's nothing ironclad that it has to be this. I think it is. Do I really think it is? I do. But just remember, I can't give it to you that it has to be that way, okay? I can't give it to you because it may not be the case. So, let's see if we have any questions. You go ahead, escape to Mars or maybe the moon. That ain't going to save you. Why are they hiding in bunkers right now? I don't know what in the world you mean. I don't know who you're talking about. I didn't block you. I just took the post off. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know who you're referencing. So, I mean, if you want to clear it up and repost it, I won't take it down. But I don't know who you're talking about. The leaders of the countries, Russia are going into bunkers, America going into bunkers, they're both going into bunkers. I don't know who you mean. So, if you want to repost it, I'll leave it, no problem. But that's what I got. So, yes, the nuke thing, forget about it. A big war coming, oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's no World War III in the Bible. There's Jeremiah 30:11, which you should read. It says, all the nations that God scattered the Israelites into shall be destroyed because of the way they treated us. And I make that at about 125 nations. So, and it's also not in, it's in Jeremiah 30 verse 11 and Jeremiah 46 verse 28, 2 places in the Bible. So if you want to go kick against that, go ahead. But it's not real. It's in there. It's obviously what's going on. It's up to you if you want to believe the Bible or not. I can't force you, but it always comes true. And there you have it. So I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife Rivka for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing, and keep praying for my wife. She keeps improving, but keep praying for her. And pray we could get the help we need from the government. Okay? Please pray for that. That's important. Pray I don't have any trouble with the payment processors I use. That's important too. Please pray for that. Please, please. Chief, as I said, he's very noticeably better from the prayers yesterday. Please keep the prayers going and pray for all the animals and pets, which are rescues. And many of you like animals. They're all rescues, everyone. So pray for them to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for better videos. And pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And last but not least, the fraudsters that you all were praying for. Well, it turned out they were fraudsters, but what they were doing is this crazy woman T-boned us in the car and rolled the car on its side about, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years, I think 8 years ago. And I don't think my neck has ever been the same since, but I didn't sue her. And she sued us. I mean, the cop gave her a ticket for what she did. She was talking on the phone or something and couldn't see or wasn't paying attention and had a much bigger car. We had a little small Fiat rent-a-car and flipped our car over. Quite scary. We went to the hospital, and then the car, I believe, was totaled, and the insurance paid us off, and then she wound up suing us and the rent-a-car company who self-insures. So she lost the case, but it looked like she tried to put the fix in because she had some strange guy unrelated to the case that came into court and sat next to us smiling at the judge. That's the way they say the fix is in, right? But the judge dumped on her. Her case was so absurd. So then the insurance company went after her for the damages to the vehicle because it was her fault. So they wanted to subpoena us for witnesses. So I don't know what's going on. People are calling me up and telling me they're the post office, asking me questions the post office would never ask. Like, what's your address? Telling me they're from the electric company. And I said, what's your name? Who can I call at the electric company to verify you want to read the meter? And they won't answer. I called the electric company. I ain't getting away with them. So I threatened to call the police on them. So then it stopped. And then they told the lawyer at the rent-a-car company that he better call me up, or she better call me up because I'm going to get the police on them. And they don't want to go to jail. Impersonating the Israel post office and impersonating the electric company. It's the Israel electric company and the Israel post office is very serious felonies for any reason. So so now what the lawyer should have done is called us up at first. The lawyer called us up and told us that it was her trying to bring us into the case as witnesses to testify against the woman that hit us. And we have no problem with that whatsoever. She caused the accident. She came out of a side street. We were going on the street. She had a stop sign. She drove through it and hit us. Wasn't watching where she was going. It was quite traumatic for us. They had to come pull us out of the car. It was on its side. Who do I remember pulling us out of the car? Arab construction workers. A lot of them like us. They like living here. They're helpful. So anyway, they're gonna, because my wife recently got out of the hospital, where they're gonna let us testify by the internet. You know, you get on, I don't know, Zoom or something, and you give your testimony that way. The lawyer's trying to set that up. We don't mind helping them. But all the idiot lawyer had to do was call us up on the phone and ask us. Instead, they hired some crackpot company of frauds going around, and they're getting me upset. I don't know what the heck they're trying to lie to me about, and they kept calling over and over and over and over again. What kind of maniacs are they? You know, idiots. Well, I never called the police. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. So that was the end of it. So nothing with nothing. That's the end of that. The device that the government still has jammed up, that I never got, that red light device, is still jammed up. You can pray for that. I don't know how it'll resolve, but the company sent me another one, so I have it, but I don't know what to do. But anyway, so that's the update. Thank you for all the prayers. They do come to pass. Keep your spiritual warfare up. Look at the progress since we started. They gave Ukraine the long-range war green light. Putin's threatening. You know, it's all blowing up on him. North Korea is itching, or acting like they're itching to attack South Korea. America's definitely cranking up a world war. The only reasons I get for that is they're with the beast and they want to destroy America, because America is contrary to the interests and purposes now of the beast and Satan. America's failed Satan. Okay. So they're finished with America, but Biden's with the whore, and he doesn't want to finish with America. He's got tremendous assets in America. Biden has investments in other countries, doesn't he? China, he's in bed with China and stuff like that. Trump's got all kinds of real estate investments all over the United States. Trump wants to go back to, you know, promoting churchianity, promoting America, and all, you know. That's my take on it. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I truly I truly feel, rather, that I should have, those of you that believe the Bible, calmed you down on this nuclear threat. You should realize that it's not real. If anyone was going to get nuked, it'd be America. They're not. I just don't see a fit for it. I think it's another fabrication, and, you know, man on the moon, and, you know, breaking the firmament and all the other stuff, you know, it all fits together. That's it. Creates fear and stress on the people. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and please don't lighten up on your spiritual warfare, on the nations, the corporations, the generals, intelligence services, militaries, the whole lot of these crazies. Go. And that's it, kids. So I'm out. Thanks.